Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, all of you, and especially Barcelona for this opportunity. Okay. Even though I'm Mexican, I'm going to speak in English for the world crowd. Okay. And I don't speak Catalan. Our world is young, urban, mobile, but still unequal. Half of its population is under 30, live in cities. Half mobile phones, 87%. 1/3 of the world use internet, but 1/5 still remains below the poverty line. Our near future shall bring us a youth bulge as we had never seen before, people under 20. A mobile bulge that is just beginning, and an urban bulge. Cities grew very much under the last 60 years. But what is coming from now on is something we've never seen before. What it took 10,000 years to build, to reach 100%, now we have in 40 years to build 3/4 of it. At UN-Habitat, we think that cities should have a new paradigm and be compact, integrated, inclusive, and connected. We consider cities as assemblages of several important things. People with rights and a citizenship, stones within a territory, which is our built environment, and rules with authority, which is government. Now, sustainable cities add to this 3 sides. Basically, governance, jurisdiction, and urbanization. Okay? And they become sustainable when we manage to get them to be viable, fair, and livable. Technology, we think at UN-Habitat, should serve us to improve outcomes, balance inclusiveness and responsiveness, achieve public openness, and engage citizens. When we add ICT, we call them connected cities. And with ICT, we can give a voice to the people, efficacy to the authority, and something we never had before, which is conscience to the stones. Okay? That's a general idea of where we want to go. City Changer Labs is a project of UN. We engage youth to solve urban issues with mobile technology. We take the 3 bulges I just explained to you, youth, mobile, and urban. We consider youth to be a demographic dividend, an opportunity, not a burden, a human resource. We think that with mobile, we can get collective intelligence, and we see urban development as an opportunity for economic and social development. So we put together these 3 big bulges that are coming ahead of us within City Changer Labs. We put youth to mobile. Youth become beneficiaries, partners, and leaders. Mobile allows them to share, dialogue, cooperate, and take action, and apply that to urban systems, services, communities, and governance. Youth create, innovate, and become entrepreneurs. They provide their talent to develop new tools and to create new businesses for themselves and by themselves. Okay? We have hack days, apps, and startups. But these are the excuses. These are not the ends. These are the means and the excuses. Hack days are noisy and fun. Okay? But at the same time, they are very serious and productive. We've gathered about 400 youth in 4 of these City Changer Labs to produce applications. The first one was in Mexico City last August about youth and governance. It was organized by us, United Nations. The second one in Monterey was for public space to revitalize the historic district, which is abandoned by the drug lords' crimes. We had financial inclusion in El Salvador, in Central America. And we had one big event with Televisa about hard and soft cities. This was a virtual hack Apple app changes. Basically, we go into social networks, we invite youth, they come, okay, they solve issues, they're locked in for 48 hours, and they don't leave the room until they produced a prototype of a working app. 8 apps were produced for governance, and they present different views of how youth solve governance. For Monterey, we had 9 apps that were produced. The main one, good stories to counteract the collective imaginarium of violence. In El Salvador, where there are 86% of the population without banking account, but 90% has mobiles, we did it for mobile finance. And for Mexico City and Televisa, we had one about hardware. And the kids produced a air predictor, which is a mobile, personal, at the level of the pedestrian, quality of air monitor. These are the 4 apps that won the hackathons. Each of this winning team then receives a scholarship, and they go from the creativity part to the innovation, 4 months to develop the app, and then 4 months for entrepreneurship. We don't create anything. We just link together existing alternatives within the ecosystems in Mexico, Central America, or the cities where we work. We bring together the public sector, the social sector, academic sector, private sector. For instance, we've had support of all of the phone carriers, Telmex, América Móvil, Telefónica, Tigo, Axtel. We have the main universities. And we now want to go connected cities and global. UN-Habitat has basically 3 things to offer to the world: knowledge and expertise, the capability to reach institutional agreements, and global visibility. Our City Changer Labs will create a register. We have structured a program and a network to replicate these events all over. There are 2 events coming: the World Urban Forum next year in Medellin, you're cordially invited, and Habitat, which is a conference every 20 years. We engage youth to creation, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And we link youth, technology, and cities. Because we really want youth, okay, to come up with new ideas that help us hear the music of the city and the image of the city and bring new and fresh sensibility, like in this case, where the city of Eindhoven has been turned into a model that plays the piano. And we can hear Eindhoven. Thank you very much.
Yes. So the next one, my name is Norihiro from ATL in Kyoto. Now in Japanese time is 2 a.m., a little bit feel about the midnight. But I will say about the robots and the robotic services in smart city. And a robot has at least 3 functions. One is a sensation, and 2 actuation. Second one is the third one is intelligent control. And the robotic services are systems and devices and robots with these 3 functions. If the city has these 3 functions, the city becomes a robotic city. Let me say about that. We already made these robotic services for the 4 years. And these services will make innovation for the elderly and disabled in the super aging society. Why we need robotic services? The first speaker also says about we are facing the very, very important super aging society problems. The number of people per household is very interesting. Is currently, I'm families, the two daughters, but separately stay. In my case, my home is located in Tokyo, but I'm staying in Kyoto for the 16 years. And in this case, I'm kind of alone. And husband and wife couples, the 65% of the Japanese people is these attribute. And also the 2055, the very huge different population distribution will create. The 80 years old is the highest population in Japan. So, and the green one is gets lots of the money and creates the tax. But the red one and the yellow one always gets the money from the government. It's a very big problem in Japan. So the problem is a decline in the working populations and increasing the medical expense. Medical expense means 20 billion euro right now. So for the medical expense, and dilution of the community awareness. So we tried to cope with these problems. The government were extending the healthy life expectancy and utilizing the knowledge and experience of elderly and creating the innovative, smart platinum industries. Platinum, not silver. The silver always getting the white, but the platinum not comes white. So we prefer the name is in place of the silver, we use always platinum. So creating a smart platinum society. I'm a member of this committee in the government, and we fall into the three visions. And the robotic service in city is related to the vision second, the participating in social activities with a leading, fulfilling life. After that, the government expected to create the new industries with more than 23 trillion and almost 20 billion euros. In 2020, the Olympic Games were held in Tokyo. If you have a chance to please come over to Tokyo. And also, I already field experimentations from the 2002 to the 2013. The school, science museum, station, the shopping mall, and the daycare center, and tour guide. I just show you the part of them, shopping support for the elderly customer. This one is a robot, sensor network, and smartphone. They combine each other, it creates the new robotic services. First, I'm in the home, making some shopping list. Easy to put in. After she came to the entrance of the shopping mall, his MAC address in the smartphone and the sensor network using the laser range finder, detecting the her positions. Even though the more than the 30 people are coming to. And the robot come close to her and take to the shopping area. Let's imagine. The first time I expected the engineer always think about maybe she forgot to buy something, so the robot will recommend. But after that, she recommend or say something to the robot, and she wanted to talk many times, rather than she always alone to buy something. This is a story. And also after that, the wheelchair people could not come over to the shopping mall. So I just introduced for these peoples. And in place of the humanoid robot, the wheelchair becomes a robot. And safely to go around in the shopping mall. And currently, we have to spend 10 years, but they only focus on the scientific and technological challenges, and sometimes the user acceptance from the citizens' questionnaire. But the next step, we just focus on the future work, collaboration with the local administrations, and sometimes design service and evaluation test. And the last line is very important, the cost performance. So introduce the robot or robotic service. We spend much money to how to save the money. And we just introduced the special innovation ecosystems in Osaka cities and building the platform ecosystems for the research development. And almost people focus on the only startup and the second stage. But we tried to introduce the mentoring systems like West Coast. So sometimes invite from the mentor peoples from the West Coast, and we just discuss about. The first speaker also talking about the hackathon. We just introduced the hackathon with robotics. So our system is, our room has a 3D printer or the laser cutters, and within the 36 hours or the 24 hours, some people join, even though the Omron or the Panasonic or the new students come over to and talking about creates the new project. After that, the excellent one is got the money from the venture capital. Sometimes the excellent one is will take them to the West Coast venture capital. Some sales, for example, the 500 startups or the sale give the money, depend on the 10 minutes talk, the pitch contest. And also the last one is the very important thing. Who might be surrogate? Our laboratory has developed these things. Which one is a surrogate? Everyone knows that one? All the things are surrogate, you know? And after that, the surrogate, hello, Yoko Kato-san. Do you like the bag you brought in the Tokyo last weekend? Why do you know my name and what I bought in Tokyo? It's a real world. We can easily to realize that these situations. What happens? And also the recently sensor network we just developed allows anticipation of the people's activities without their acceptance. Easily to the system expected that, he will come over to enter to this restaurant or this shoppings after the big data or statistics. And also Japan is facing the spoofing attack in the smartphone. It's a big problem. If you introduce these systems or robotic systems, we are concerned about these things. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Oh, yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. No. Hello? Hola? Ahora. Well, first of all, I'd like to apologize. I'm going to give my presentation in Spanish because I will feel more comfortable. So, one of you that you don't speak Spanish, please, your headphones. Bien, mi nombre es David Joera. Yo obviamente soy de España, de Barcelona, así que no me ha pasado como él. Yo me siento un poco más cómodo, no son las 2 de la mañana. La idea de la presentación de hoy viene a hablar un poco de nuestra tecnología. Nosotros somos Wonderware. Wonderware somos una empresa de software, somos una software factory. Y la idea de la presentación de hoy es explicar algunos de los proyectos que se han llevado a cabo con nuestra tecnología, tanto en España como algún ejemplo en Europa. Primero de todo, bueno, explicar que dentro de las Smart Cities hay muchísimas definiciones. Seguramente si preguntáramos a cada uno de nosotros diría una cosa distinta. Y nosotros nos focalizamos en lo que son las infraestructuras urbanas. Por tanto, hoy vamos a hablar de la gestión de infraestructuras urbanas con una solución tecnológica, ¿de acuerdo? Bien, hoy en día parece claro que en una ciudad existe transporte público, existen problemas de polución, de tráfico, existe participación ciudadana, residuos, existe riego, tratamiento de agua, existen muchísimas infraestructuras que deben ser gestionadas. Prácticamente todas tienen una adjudicación, existe alguna empresa detrás que está llevando a cabo esta gestión y en alguna ciudad es la propia ciudad quien lo lleva a cabo. Esto hasta ahora era así y no había ningún problema, pero cada vez más las ciudades quieren tener el control de lo que sucede. Necesitan tener de una información para poder compartirla tanto con universidades, compartirla con usuarios, para que los ciudadanos puedan participar de una u otra manera. Bien, lo que parece que todo el mundo está de acuerdo hoy en día es en tener un centro, algo que sea capaz de aglutinar toda esta información, comunicarla entre ella y compartirla con quien haga falta, ¿de acuerdo? Pero existe un problema. La manera con la que hemos trabajado hasta ahora pues nos lleva a un cuadro como este. Prácticamente todas las ciudades no existe ninguna estandarización, suelen ser entornos públicos en la que hay, cada vez que hay un nuevo proyecto suele haber un pliego, suele haber una adjudicación y debido a que no hay ninguna estandarización, cada vez que llega ese pliego es la compañía adjudicataria la que decide qué software o qué tecnología poner. Con lo cual al final nos encontramos con una falta de estándares, nos encontramos con que hay gestiones externas, nos encontramos con que si queremos tener una integración de información en un centro de control parece imposible, nos encontramos en que en muchos casos la tecnología que se implementa suele ser propietaria. En muchos de los casos, se me ocurre riego, se me ocurre residuos, bueno, pues cada uno tiene su propia aplicación, cada uno implementa su tecnología y hace la gestión como pueden. A partir de aquí, cuando alguien quiere trabajar con esa información, parece bastante difícil. Existen soluciones en tiempo real, existen proyectos que están totalmente isolated, ahora no me sale la palabra en español, proyectos aislados unos de otros y parece ser que, bueno, cuando tú quieres hacer una integración suele ser tremendamente difícil. Lo que nos encontramos cuando hablamos con los ayuntamientos es que nos dicen, bueno, nosotros tenemos toda esta tecnología, tenemos todas nuestras áreas cubiertas, pero ahora queremos obtener información y cuando queremos ir a cada uno de los fabricantes nos dicen que, bueno, que es imposible, que o bien te doy cierta información, o bien tienes que pagar X dinero, o bien simplemente no puedes hacerlo, ¿de acuerdo? Al final lo que se produce es un cierto caos, al final los ayuntamientos no tienen nada de esto. Bien, nuestra visión y lo que entendemos que se pretende desde todos los ayuntamientos es que los proyectos verticales puedan estar implementados, se implementen los proyectos verticales, pero siempre unificados en una única plataforma. Al final, lo que se pretende es que haya una integración de todos los sistemas en un único lugar para que toda esa información pueda ser tratada de una u otra manera. Cuando digo integración, no me refiero a que todos esos sistemas tengan que estar implementados en una misma plataforma, sino que todos esos sistemas sean capaces de integrarse con una única plataforma que recoja la información y que luego pueda transmitirla de uno u otro modo. Existen ciudades como Barcelona, hoy en día Barcelona creo que está hablando del iOS Protocol, un protocolo de ciudad. Hay empresas que intentan desarrollar o están por la labor de desarrollar esa plataforma y tiene bastante sentido, la verdad es que sí, es tener una plataforma mediante la cual el resto de usuarios se puedan comunicar y pueden enviar toda la información. Lo que pasa es que es algo bastante costoso, es algo que todavía está por definir, todavía no se conoce exactamente qué se puede conseguir con esa plataforma y lo que pasa también es que al final no hay nadie quien esté detrás, no hay una empresa que diga yo tengo mi plataforma y puede implementarla, ¿de acuerdo? Desde luego eso puede darse con ciudades grandes como Barcelona, Madrid, pero cuando queremos ir a ciudades un poco más pequeñitas, invertir en una plataforma de este calibre parece imposible. Es decir, tenemos un problema económico y no se puede abordar. Lo que proponemos es una plataforma para la gestión de infraestructuras urbanas que sea capaz de lo que hemos dicho. El dibujo que hemos visto antes del cuerpo humano, una plataforma capaz de recoger información de todos los sistemas que tenga en la ciudad, con todo aquello que sea estándar, para luego con esa información proporcionarla a quien haga falta e incluso parte de esos sistemas, ¿por qué no?, meterlo dentro de la plataforma. Suele suceder en alguna ciudad que dicen, yo tengo riego, pero quiero llevar la gestión. Bueno, pues ¿por qué no coger ese riego e integrarlo dentro de la misma plataforma? Todo esto se está llevando hoy en día. Al final lo que proponemos es, por supuesto, las ciudades existen, es algo impepinable, es algo que no podemos evitar y como tal no podemos destruir todo lo que hay y empezar absolutamente de nuevo. Lo que ofrecemos es una solución sostenible, es decir, aprovechar lo que tenemos, aprovechar los recursos económicos, aprovechar todos los recursos que tenemos financieros, en cuanto políticos, etcétera, confort ciudadano es muy importante y ofrecer un control en tiempo real a la ciudad, ofreciendo mayor eficacia y ahorro. Eso sí, siempre de una manera escalada. Es muy importante el pensar que no podemos ir a una ciudad y plantear una solución única para el futuro, sino que hoy en día lo que tenemos que ofrecer son soluciones pequeñitas que fácilmente pueden ir creciendo según las nuevas necesidades de la ciudad. Por último, os explico tres proyectos que hemos llevado a cabo. El primero sería en la ciudad de Bremen, en Alemania. Existen o tenían 1.200 edificios públicos gestionados, cada uno de ellos gestionado por un fabricante diferente. En su momento, cada edificio cuando se llevó a cabo se implementó un software, a veces propietario, con lo cual el ayuntamiento veía imposible el poder recoger información de todos esos para hacer una acción común, para reducir costes energéticos, para reducir costes de mantenimiento, etc. Decidió estandarizar una solución, escogió nuestra tecnología y esta tecnología les permitió en algunos casos sustituir lo que había y en otros recoger información de ella. De esta manera consiguieron estos objetivos, reducción de consumo energético de un 15 al 18% y costes de mantenimiento, bueno, de hasta 30.000 euros en algunos casos. Bien. En cuanto a ejemplos en España, tenemos dos ejemplos importantes. Uno de ellos es el Valdespartera. Valdespartera es un barrio de la ciudad de Zaragoza de unos 10.000 habitantes. Es una ciudad construida y pensada de manera ecológica, con materiales ecológicos, orientada de según qué modo para aprovechar al máximo las temperaturas, evitar vientos, etc. Y lo que a nivel tecnológico decidieron es utilizar una única tecnología con la cual pudieran tener el control de la iluminación de las calles, todo el tema de tratamiento de aguas, recogida de aguas fluviales, de aguas de tormenta, el tema de riego, hacer el tratamiento. Ellos tienen un tratamiento neumático de recogida de residuos, también aglutinarlo en una única plataforma, de manera que desde un centro de control son capaces de controlar absolutamente todo. Un ejemplo curioso es que, como piloto, desde la Universidad de Zaragoza, quisieron hacer un pequeño proyectito mediante el cual supervisan y analizan algunos de los hogares de Valdespartera, que es como se llama esta población. De esta manera hacen propuestas a la persona que vive en cierto hogar, es decir, ellos tienen una temperatura en una habitación, una temperatura en otra, llegan hasta el punto de enviar mensajes para decir, abre una puerta del comedor para que la temperatura fluya entre un lugar y otro. Bueno, pues ejemplos como estos hoy en día existen y se pueden ver. En cuanto a la ciudad de Barcelona, es un ejemplo curioso. En la ciudad de Barcelona, en el ayuntamiento, ya estamos colaborando y ellos, tanto en la parte de ascensores y escaleras mecánicas como en riego, están utilizando plataforma Wonderware. Pero la ciudad de Barcelona es una cosa muy curiosa porque las infraestructuras que existen alrededor de Barcelona ya están gestionadas por nuestra tecnología. Estoy hablando del aeropuerto, todo el aeropuerto está gestionado por Wonderware. Toda la parte de agua, me refiero todo el tratamiento de agua y el transporte de agua también lo está. El transportes ferrocarriles de la Generalitat de Cataluña tienen toda la red de estaciones gestionadas por esta tecnología. Con TMB, que son el tema de autobuses, existe lo mismo, pero cada una lo pensó de una manera aislada. Cada una decidió utilizar Wonderware porque tenían esos problemas, pero al final, hoy en día, lo que existe en Barcelona son pequeñas islas de tecnología Wonderware, a falta que llegue el iOS de ciudad que están desarrollando para que sea capaz de integrar todas estas cosas. ¿De acuerdo? Y estos son solo algunos ejemplos de riego que existen en la ciudad de Barcelona. Ya está. ¿Tenéis alguna pregunta? Come on.
Hello. Buenas noches. Good evening, everyone. Okay. I'm Zvika and I'd like to present a brief introduction to two projects. This will be the agenda, the brief agenda for this evening. First of all, I'll present a very quick background of the way that we perceive the new concept, the sustainable concept of developing new services, devices, and methods. And actually, it's very interesting because Alfonso started with the youth, and I will finish with the senior citizen, and we'll cover all of the inhabitants of the city. So the first, we'll start with a quick background, and then I'll tell you two stories, two case studies of R&D projects that we are participating in, and will be very interesting, hopefully. And then we'll have a brief conclusion, and we'll move to the Q&A. Briefly about us, our company, this is our company. We've been around for 36 years, so we have a lot of experience. We deal with training, consultancy, and research. One of our key capacities is, I'm sure that some of you are aware of the European Framework Program. We have been involved since FP1 in the research programs, and we have a lot of experience, and it's very interesting. And I suggest all of you to become engaged in Horizon 2020. This is something else. When you design a service, a product, or a system, you have two ways to approach this issue. Most of the companies approach it from technology direction. They say, we have new technology, we have new idea, let's develop it, and then we'll see what's next. Our method is, first of all, try to look at the society-driven innovation, society-driven needs, solutions, services, and product. This is something which is very important, and I will briefly describe why. Professor Neil Postman had a very interesting insight almost 20 years ago about the connection between technology and society. And as you can see by this quote, there are very interesting things. I will read this quote briefly. Technology always has unforeseen consequences. And this is the interesting part. And it's not always clear at the beginning who or what, which means not only people, will win and who or what will lose. He defined the term, it's called technology's Faustian bargain. And this relates to the famous Faust, who sold his soul to the devil. And it means that technology can help us and can give us a lot, but technology can also take from us. And I think one example concerning the robot that I saw, I felt a little bit intimidated from the robot that looked exactly like the lady and gather all kind of information from big data. This is a crucial issue today. I mean, all of us are concerned about our privacy, and where is the balance? Where is the balance between the privacy and information that we're willing to provide and the information and the privacy that we are losing based on technology? Another thinker, John Nesbitt, has created another interesting concept. It's called high tech, high touch. And actually what Nesbitt proposed is that technology is moving forward very quickly, but society and cultures have their time. They're taking their time. It's taking a long time for them to evolve, so there isn't always a constant gap. And if we don't know how to deal with this gap, we create very innovative technology that no one wants to use. Think about it. The key methods that we are using in all of our projects, and we are trying to promote other people to use, first of all, is engaging all stakeholders. And this is something that we're trying to see in all projects, in most projects, especially in sustainable cities and things like that are trying to, first of all, identify who are the stakeholders, what are the core values, the needs. I'll get to it in a second. Second one is the user-centered design concept, which means that from day one, you analyze who are your users and you engage them into the development process from day one. And unfortunately, most of the development procedures are starting in the minds of the developers and engineers, and they're creating something very interesting, very amazing. And then after a year or so of development, they're introducing it to the end users and asking them, okay, what do you think about that? And most of the time they would say, we don't like it, we don't need it. You've wasted 1 year of development for something which is not relevant. Take into consideration. The third methodology we use is the living lab. This is another interesting concept of creating the the living lab out of the place that you are trying your experiments when you're conducting the connection with the users. Which means, I'll show you briefly the next solution. This is a very interesting project. This is a part of the European Framework Program, FP7. This is a big multinational project that we're very proud to participate in. And this project deals with home rehabilitation. One of the key factors today in the issue of home rehabilitation is first of all, that we don't have enough place to keep on a successful and relevant rehabilitation process for patients who've undergone stroke, for instance. So we are sending them home, but then when they go home, they don't have any support system that will enable them to efficiently go on with the rehabilitation process. This is actually what we are trying to achieve. Now, this is a very young project. This is just, we're now finishing the first year, so we only have this sketch. We don't have anything to show you yet, hopefully next year. But here you can see the general concept, which is someone in their own home, in the privacy of their own home, using computers, using serious games, together, and this is a strong part, together with the community. And this, for instance, could be the grandfather and the granddaughter, for instance, acting together, or this could be the grandfather and his friend living in another city. The community has a huge power in this issue. So why are you doing this project? We have 15 million people who are suffering stroke every year, and we need to help them rehabilitate themselves. And now we need to create new infrastructure, new thinking. And a city can provide this service to the people living inside the city. And this could be very interesting and an added value for the city. The first mission we did in this project is, first of all, to understand who are our stakeholders, because there's a wider range of stakeholders. We have family and friends, which are crucial in the rehabilitation process because you need motivation. We have insurance company, because we are always thinking of marketing. We are always thinking, where is a sustainable market plan in order to make this work? Because someone will have to pay the bill. Who will pay the bill? And actually, this is a very interesting anecdote. We asked one of the CEO of Israel leading insurance company and asked him, what is the price that you will be willing to pay if such a system would exist tomorrow? And he told us, whatever you ask. Which means that any price that we will name, he will pay. So this can explain you the severity of the need in modern healthcare system. And this is not only in Israel, it's in Europe-wide. We have partners from Austria and from Italy, and the situation is the same there, even worse. We have healthcare provider, physician, and of course, in the center, the end users. The second thing, after we identify the end users, we try to understand what their values are, because each of us has value. And the point of value, of different value, this is what makes us go. If we have a value of saving life, this is what I will do. This is what makes me engaged and use the system. Very interesting. And then we connected to them. And then we created, and then, as I told you, it's a pilot of a system. This is it is a game. And the second part of the system will be the interaction between the people, the patients, and the physician. But this is on the later stage. These are just a couple of, these are the partners. You can see we have partners from the universities, from the academy, from Austria, Italy, etc. Very interesting project. The second one, Safe Move. This is especially for the elderly people. The reason why we're doing this project, as we all know, the amount of senior citizen population is growing rapidly, and on the year of 2050, we'll have 25% of the population above 65, and you can see on comparison, in 1950, we only had 4% of the population. And one of the challenges we have is to keep them engaged in the community, keep them active, keep them parts or a true part of society. Because being 65 doesn't mean that you can't do anything. On the contrary, now you have the time to do anything you want. So the situation is that these people, some of them are staying at home, they're becoming more sick, the welfare system needs to pay more money, and now we need to find a solution to enable them to go outside. This is Fred. This is one of our case study. This is a guy, 67 years old. He's been working all his life, and now we want to have fun. But the point is that Fred is a bit anxious when going outside. He has some problems. And I'll show you the quick scenario. Hopefully the computer will not let us down. This is the scenario, the first scenario that we've planned. The system is comprised of 3 parts. We have Safe Move at home, which enables the people to train themselves before going outside. This is for physically and cognitive training. Of course, the game will be specific to the end users. This is a social network. Now Fred is inviting her to go out. And of course that Martha would love to join Fred. You can see the social relationship issue is one of the most crucial factors in our system. I don't know why the sound is, but it's the same. Because when combining 2 people, we have a competitive message there. Now the system helps them also to buy the tickets, and it eases them from home to going to their target, to where they need to go, easily and safely. And then they are not alone. They have always someone watching them, assisting them, helping them, and this is a very, very strong issue. This is the Safe Move Assist. This is the professional part. These are people, professional people, who are online every time, helping them if they need something. They have monitor system that they can track them. Of course, this also raises an issue of privacy and security, how to use the big data. This is something we are addressing, again, from day one, in order to prevent issues that, let's say my grandmother, if I told her that someone will be watching her 24/7 and know exactly where she is, she will be very intimidated. So you have to slowly understand them and make them want to use it from both directions. Okay. Okay, so this was the scenario as I showed you, the 3 parts. Again, we have the stakeholder, we analyze the stakeholder, and based on the requirements of the stakeholders, we developed the infrastructure, the game. This is a 3D park. This is the outline of the system. These are the partners. Again, it's an AAL project. And in conclusion, just 3 main points. 1, you have to identify the stakeholder and understand them. If you understand their needs, their values, and culture, you can design something that they will actually use. The second is to engage them from day one. It's very important, not after a year or 2 of development. And the third, very, very important, is to integrate both directions, both social-driven innovation or R&D and technology-wise driven innovation and R&D. I'd like to thank you very much. And if you have any further questions, you can contact. Thank you.
So as you saw, we had actually 4 quite different citizen services solutions. I want to ask one question to set this in motion and then get to your questions, which is this. Each of you have an idea that has lots of benefits, could be very positive in society. Where's the risk? What are you worried about is going to keep you from succeeding? And I'm going to start on this side with Zvi first and then walk our way around the table. 2 or 3 sentences of a quick answer.
Wow. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. In my point of view, one of the crucial risks are, again, not understanding the values, the culture of the citizens. You know, if you're thinking, we're speaking about smart cities and you want to create new and innovative services. And we had a very interesting example today in the session that we conducted on the City Plaza, that one local municipality has decided to extend one metro line. Now, the extension of this line has nothing to do with the needs of the population. There is no need of it, but the government has decided to do so anyway. And I think that this should be the crucial risk, that you develop system, you develop services that no one wants to use, no one needs, and then they will just become white elephants. So this, in my point of view, in a nutshell.
Hello. Well, in my opinion, technologically speaking, I think standardization is a key factor on all that. If there's no standard, it will be like a mess. If we want citizens to be commitment in what is living in our city, there has to be a standardization. If not, I think anything will succeed.
Yes, in our case, robotic cities always assume the robot and embedded sensors and smartphones. So that these data is accumulated, especially we assume the cloud network systems. So after that, these data's ownership is a very important thing. This data is only the individuals or some groups and some company getting collecting these huge data. And sometimes these data will sell to the many places. It creates the new concern, the problems, I think, yeah.
In our case, what we found is fear. Fear is the main risk we have faced. Public officials get fearful of young people presenting a lot of alternatives. And they've come to us and say, the applications are great, but I'm going to be in a difficult position to respond to that participation. So if we overcome fear, I think we'll be in a better world.
Thank you. So 4 things to be concerned about if you think you're going to pursue one of these ideas in your city or in your life. So now we're open for questions from the audience. I believe there's a microphone being circulated. Would you stand up, give your name, where you're from, and a short question directed to a panel member if you've got someone special in mind. Otherwise, we'll decide how to field it.
Hello, my name is Hiba. I'm from Dubai Municipality. My question is for Mr. Hagita, the robot man.
The robot man.
Yeah, I want to know if these robot services are mature enough to be used all over the world. That's the first question. And the second question is, how is it used in hospital management for elderly? Or maybe rehabilitation centers for elderly as well?
Yeah. In this case, for the second questions, the rehabilitation is only for the medical questions, I think. So the currently robot services are limited to the special services. So in the near future, we introduce the rehabilitation, and also the FP7 also tried to rehab at home. Yeah. And first question, could you tell me? Oh, yes. In this case, right now, the standardization is going on, especially the next January, the new standardization related to the secure criterion for the robotics. So after that, these criterion is defined. The many robot makers are making safely to making the new robots and broadcast to the many worldwide. Yes.
Other questions?
Hello, I am Xavier Estivil from Barcelona. I was thinking in the project of Mr. Alfonso Govela, talking about youth people working in application. No? I can understand this from the San Francisco Bay Area where they have a meetup and in one day they rebuild the websites and this, but thinking in El Salvador, for instance, what the skills do they have, do they need? Are they from a background in information technology systems background, or are they normal people from the youth? Or what do you think about this?
Thank you for asking, because I didn't explain it. It's open to everyone, but we bring together 3 kinds of people. People with ideas of social implication, regardless of their knowledge. They might have no technical knowledge whatsoever. People that know about developing and using all the libraries that exist to build apps, okay, but maybe have no idea of what to do with that knowledge. And in the third case, or the third part, is people that know about communication, marketing, design, graphic design. So we forced the teams to always include at least one from each of these sectors. And it's great because they learn to work together and they produce really rich ideas, much richer. And it's open. It doesn't matter if they went to school or not. If they have an idea or they have a skill or they know how to communicate, they're welcome to do so.
Question back here.
Ms. Sarah from Germany, I would like to ask Wunderwave. You just mentioned that you provide your solution to all of the public building for the municipality in Barcelona, in Bremen, and all other stuff. My question is, how do you compete with all of the big players in the market? Because they also claim that, okay, they can communicate with all vendors, and the municipality, the city, I hope that they decide to use big player. But why do they use yours?
Well, there are some key factors that some big vendors are not able to provide. First of all, our solution is open. So we do not do projects. We are a software factory. So we give our solutions to system integrators that are able to use our technology, to customize it, and to give, to create some solution for what the end user is asking for. So sometimes vendors, if you go with a vendor, the end user at the end could feel a slave about him. So that's why we are able to provide something that they are not able to do. We are open so we can give our solution to everyone that wants to use it. Sorry.
Is that the main argument that you use to compete with the other big players?
Well, we can spend a couple of hours talking technologically how our solution runs. We think that it's much better because you earn a lot of money in development, in maintenance. We're able to give some solutions that our competitor, we think that they are not able to give. We have to think that the most of our competitors, of the big vendors, they are thinking in hardware. The core business is the hardware, it's not the software. Sometimes they use the software because if the piece that they need to arrive to a place and stay there. In our case, we give only software. So we have to be open, we have to connect through all the protocols, to all the devices, to all the systems, and I think it's our main difference. But I'd say, technologically speaking, I think that we are much better because it's our core business.
One more question, and we'll wrap this up.
Two questions.
Two. Is there another?
Sorry. I'm Zvika from Israel as well. You spoke about new technologies, but on the other end of this development, there is the person, the society. Society needs a lot of solution for many of its problems. I would like to ask how long time it takes to the R&D to produce social solutions for the population, not robots and not speedy buses or train, but for the daily life of every one of us sitting here.
Are you referring to me? Yep. Okay. I think this is an interesting question, but I can only answer from our experience, which is vast, but it's very specific on, as I showed you, this is an example for 2 projects, but basically each of these projects takes 3 years. For the entire duration of the project, we are constantly conducting social research that we implement into the development process. And then we re-research and re-implement, and it's a very iterative process. And it really is, it depends at the end about the marketing capacities. Because potentially after 3 years, we already have a prototype, working prototype based on the needs and requirements of society, of actual people. But then the challenge is to convey it to, let's say, first of all, commercial partners in one hand, the local government on the other, insurance company, healthcare provider, etc. So this is why it's very, very important to engage all of them from day one. So after 3 years, it would be very easy for me to do the exploitation part because they're already involved in the development process. So I can tell you, again, in my experience, in 3 years' time, such solutions can be widely implemented. But this is just one part of social research.
And the last question.
The question is to maybe the difference between the smart city that deal with engineering, physical engineering, and the smart city with dealing with social engineering. Mm-hmm. And with physical engineering, I think the optimization that we know it's not very new actually. It's only the field who is new. That's okay. You have 1,000 buildings, but it's not new. I think that what's new in smart city, that's the social engineering, and the social engineering, I believe, need to take care of the diversity and to be really open to many ways, to failures. And I want to recall that the city is a balance between order and disorder. So we have to as well to accept in social engineering to have a disorder, not optimized solution, but living solutions. And I don't know what is the balance between a good social engineering and optimized social engineering. So maybe the good solution, that's the one who is accepted even if it's not optimized. So when in engineering, if it's not optimized, it's not a good solution.
So I think in many ways that's, hello.
Sure.
In many ways,
That's a good conclusion, which I think I'll summarize this way. That I think you saw here technology involved in all of the ideas, but a great emphasis on the engagement of people generating the ideas, people developing the ideas, and people using the ideas. Without that human interaction, all four of these would say you can't have the success you want. That's the same thing that I think that you were saying. And I think that it's a theme we've seen a good bit in this conference and Congress is the importance of technology, but the importance of being sure people are involved. With that, thank you for your time. Tonight, the gala dinner, I'm part of the awards team that got to review the awards. I want to tell you there's some exciting awards tonight, so I look forward to seeing you at the gala dinner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Muchas gracias.